Hey everyone, Bond here from Dr. Pennsylvania with our third installment of Past Periodicals. This one is from the Philadelphia Record, June 1st, 1901, and the headline reads, Bodies of Two Victims Recovered.
Bodies of two victims recovered. An all-day search for remains of drowned picnickers found in dumping ground. Crowds lined the riverbanks and watched anxiously as three searching parties dragged the bottom. A second tragedy averted. Waterworks employees prevented another party of picnickers from meeting the fate of their companions. Dragging the Schuylkill River bottom for 7 bodies of the Flat Rock Dam victims began yesterday morning at daybreak and was continued uninterruptedly until 9 p.m. last night, at which time 2 of the bodies had been recovered, those of Bertram Osmond and Mary Kenny. They were found in a 16-foot pool known as the dumping ground, half a mile below the dam on the Mcnamee side of the river. 3 rescuing parties were at work all day about the scene of Thursday's disaster. Captain Ham had complete charge of the operations in the river, which included the work of a diver dragging by a boatload of rivermen in charge of Lieutenant Lush, and similar work by a small rowboat from the police tug King, under the command of Lieutenant Francis. It was the last-named party that found the bodies. Dragging the pools. For 2 miles below the dam, the bottom of the river is rock-ribbed, save for 2 points, the dumping ground where the bodies were found, and a pool 300 yards below, where a shelving of rock projects into the river from the same side of the stream. Both pools were carefully dragged by searching parties, but it was found that only 2 bodies had been lodgment therein, and the work began again at the dam. Every foot of the bottom was dragged for half a mile below the dam, and the work will be renewed this morning. Escape of a second party. It came to light yesterday that scarcely 2 hours after the boatload of Elm social picnickers had gone over the dam to their death, that a second boatload of 3 girls and 3 young men, also recognized by their pink and white garments as members of the Elm social, had a narrow escape just above the comb of the dam. They were attracted to the Philadelphia shore by the warning cries of Chief Fireman George Wheeler, employed at the Shawmont pumping station. Wheeler sent Tom Innes and William Bowers to a point where the party had landed, and those men seized the boat, which they took up to the station and held there until yesterday morning. They feared that the young folk might attempt to recross the river. The body of May Kenny was first identified as that of Florence Densmore, and the mistake caused considerable confusion. They began to bring bodies from the water at 2:10, and the body of May Kenny was brought ashore by officers and placed in the covered wagon which was driven to the police station at Mcnamee. Thousands of spectators lined the shore, searching the river with their eyes. At 2:55 p.m., the body of a male, dressed in mud-smeared clothes, was lifted to the surface of the river. It followed the first body into the Mcnamee on a second wagon. The remains were held at the police station pending the arrival of relatives who were notified by the police. The body of May Kenny was first removed to the morgue, but was later sent to the establishment of Undertaker Mullen at number 1523 South 10th Street. No arrangements have yet been made for the funeral. At St. Timothy's Hospital, where James Moore, the only survivor of the party of picnickers, is slowly recovering from the effects of his plunge over the dam. It was announced that he was gradually improving and now had a chance for his life. Grief in stricken homes. There is an unusually pathetic side to the drowning of the little Densmore and Kenny girls. They were the youngest of the party, both being under 16 years of age, and were fellow employees in a candy factory and constant companions. May Kenny was the only child and chief support of an invalid mother, who was stupefied with grief over the loss of her little Mazzie. Mrs. Densmore is also an invalid and in shock at her daughter's sad death, and is causing her acute mental and physical suffering. It was the first social picnic that either of the girls had attended, and the agony of their parents is increased by remembrances of the joyful anticipation with which both children had awaited the event and the happy parting as they left the home on Thursday morning. Mrs. Kenny had rooms for herself and her daughter at number 1429 South Clarion Street. 2 years ago, the mother shattered her kneecap by a fall and had since then been unable to do anything but the lightest of work. "I can't believe my little Maisie's gone," she said between sobs. "Why, only yesterday morning she carried up all the fresh water for me so that I wouldn't have to do anything. We were more like sisters than mother and child, and now to think that I can never talk to her again." When told that the body of Florence Dinsmore had been recovered, Mrs. Kinney forgot her grief for a moment to pity the other unfortunate mother. "Was the body bruised?" she queried eagerly. "Oh, if they only bring my little Maisie back unscarred." Brought her daughter's body home. Florence Dinsmore aided her father and older brother in providing a comfortable home at number 1265 South Taylor Street for her delicate mother and a growing family. Her father was unable to leave her mother to join in the search for the body, but when the word of its recovery was received, he went to Manayunk and brought the remains home. Mrs. Osmond, the mother of the unfortunate oarsman, refused to believe that her boy was dead. Young Osmond was the chief mainstay of her little home at number 731 Dudley Street, where his widowed mother and young sister lived. Mrs. Osmond, in delirium, repeated again and again the parting words of her son, who was a factor in the management of the picnic and had left the home in a very happy frame of mind. A most affecting scene took place when the body was brought to the house and the mother fully realized the extent of his affliction. The mother of Maud Rutter wept continuously for her baby. Maud being the youngest of the family, Mrs. Rutter is a nurse, and Maud was employed in a Lawrence Street cigar box factory. She was great friend to Mammy Sullivan, but was unacquainted with the majority of the picnickers. The body, when recovered, will be taken to the home of married sister at number 608 North 6th Street. Was engaged to be married. The Sullivan girl was engaged to be married, and a lover is added to the little circle to mourn her. She was the eldest of the girl victims and boarded at number 1216 Mount Vernon Street. Her father's hope is that the body will recovered unmarked. It will be taken to the home of her grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Dominic Mcnamee, number 624 South 10th Street. Florence Bond, who was an orphan, made her home with her married sister, Miss Louise Young, number 605 North 12th Street. Miss Bond was only 17 years old, and her death coming close upon the death of Mr. Young and another sister has completely prostrated Mrs. Young. The latter did not want the girl to go, but yielded to entreaties, please Miss Florence. Raymond Riker, the other victim of the accident, was a baker and resided with his father at number 1317 Latonia Street. The entire family, including several married sisters and brothers, waited up all night in the hope that the body would be recovered and sent home. Elm Social in mourning. The headquarters of the Elm Social at number 1122 Passyunk Avenue were decidedly gloomy last evening. Many of the members who had accompanied their 7 unfortunate friends on the Decoration Day picnic visited the rooms and draped the windows in the doorway with crepe. The sad accident was discussed in subdued tones by those present. Several of the boys had spent the entire day along the riverbank watching for the recovery of the drowned bodies, and told of the finding of Bert Osmond and Mazzie Kenny. It was decided last evening a meeting shall be held at 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon in the clubhouse for the purpose of passing suitable resolutions in regard to the drowning of the unfortunate members. The girls who were on the picnic will hold a similar meeting on Sunday evening at the home of one of their members. During the evening, the boys visited the late home of Bert Osmond and tendered consolation to the bereaved mother. No danger signals. Winfield S. Giles, who guards the approaches to the Schuylkill Navigation Canal at Flat Rock Dam, and is looked upon as an oracle in that vicinity, declared yesterday that the city should post warning signs along the east bank of the river. He cited the narrow cape of the second boatload Thursday, when was necessary for employees at the pumping station to leave their post of duty and steal to the picnickers' boat. And relocation to Lockkeeper's Gile, fully a score of persons have been drowned within the last 18 years, though a lack of knowledge of the disastrous currents above the dam. In 1891, William Haverstock, a farmer living in Montgomery County, between the Flat Rock Tunnel and Rose Glen, was caught in a maelstrom and drowned over the comb of the dam. His body was recovered 2 weeks later, clinging to the jagged edge of rock a mile down the river. In the following year, George Mcnamee, a neighbor of Haverstock, met a similar fate going over the dam in the dead of night. In July 1897, a picnic party of 4 persons went over the dam. Miss Minnie Tenfellels and John Carver were the unfortunates, and Miss Rose Essick and a professional swimmer named Webb were saved. In September 1898, Harold Goldman, a boy, went to his death, while last year at a party 3 persons were drowned at the dam. It is hoped by the people of Manayunk that the coroner's jury will make some recommendations in the verdict when the inquest is held of the last fatality.